It is season 2, week 7 of the Rogue Shogunate anime podcast. Let's get into it. So what will we call it? The Rogue Shogunate podcast? All right, fuck it. Rogue Shogunate podcast. I guess we had a down week, but let's get into the 3 for the week. Clay, what's your 3 for the week?
I've got mid-season reload. I think a lot of shows decided to take a mid-season approach to the episodes where we've got a lot of storylines getting set up across multiple shows. Megalobox's episode was good as always, a good setup for whatever is to come next. Same with Seven Deadly Sins. Pretty much all shows didn't carry anything massively hyped through them. It's kind of a think of it like an arc inside of an arc. My Hero is kind of setting up for the rest of the season. So mid-season reload.
That's a good one. All right. What's up, guys? This is Matt here. Finally back together. The crew's back together, and my 3 for the week is Blaze at 420 because you saw that episode of My Hero, Bakugo's birthday, was revealed to be 420. I'm just kidding. My actual 3 for the week is going to be next week's hype because basically the same reasons as Clay. A lot of these episodes were kind of just exposition or cliffhangers, but they built up to something pretty cool, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen next week.
Definitely was a lull, a lot of building going on, but I went a different direction with my 3 for the week. Y'all know I love my boy Escanor, so I had to go with at night, though? You did it at night? He the GOAT, man. But we'll get into that in our anime of the week.
Go beyond! Plus!
What were your nominees for anime of the week?
For me, it was hard, man. I'm trying to choose between Steins Gate and Darling in the Franxx. Both episodes were really hype. I feel like you have to know a bit more about Steins Gate to kind of get what's happening, but I almost want to like rewatch season 1 just so I could like kind of like have an idea of what's going on. But what's happening right now in Steins Gate is really significant, and man, I think if I got to pick one, then Darling in the Franxx gets the anime of the week for me because we saw a lot of action and a lot of build up and a lot of things getting knocked down in that episode. This is probably like one of the most climactic episodes in a while.
Okay. Clay, what was your nominee?
I would say none, and if I had to pick one, it would be Seven Deadly Sins. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't pick any just on account of the fact that nothing really exciting happened. It was more just, I don't think anything stood out above the rest. All the shows that I'm watching had a period of downtime. Setting up for future storylines, which I think is important. I think you can get like a type of viewer fatigue if episodes just keep being fights or exciting moments or whatever you want to call it. You can't do Deku versus Todoroki every episode in a show. You have to have the moments that tone it down a little bit or go into some backstory or decide to do maybe some backtracking that's been missed throughout the hype moments. So it's not really a bad thing that I picked none. And if I had to pick one, like I said, it'd be Seven Deadly Sins, but mostly for that ending, the Escanor ending you were just mentioning. Definitely a turn I did not see coming. I know Escanor's strong, but I just did not expect to maybe eliminate 2 of the 10 commandments with 1 attack. So I guess we'll see how that plays out next week, but that is certainly intriguing.
I was in the same boat as you. I wasn't sure what to put. Nothing was bad this week, but nothing was like, normally when I'm watching week to week, I know the second I finish an episode, like, damn, that was anime of the week, or damn, that could be a contender for anime of the week. But everyone, I was like, okay, that was good, but let me check out this next show. I'm sure there'll be anime, and that kept happening. So, I mean, if I had to give it to one, I'd also give it to Seven Deadly Sins because that's gonna the GOAT.
I actually got a question for you regarding Seven Deadly Sins, because I know that it's an extension of last season, along with Darling in the Franxx, which are 2 really popular shows, and as is the only one out of us 3 that's watching both of them, do you feel like Darling in the Franxx is going toe-to-toe with Seven Deadly Sins? Do you think either one of them are ahead of the other? And at the end of the season, how do you think that those two will kind of play against each other? Because I know a lot of people are comparing the two shows online.
All through last season, I thought they were both really good. The first half of Darling in the Franxx was fucking great. I don't even like mech anime, but this one had a lot of stuff that you don't really get in that genre. Seven Deadly Sins, it's more of what we had the first season. It's litty. We're learning more about the characters. But for me personally, this season, Darling in the Franxx kind of trailed off after the uniting or revealing of 02 and Ichigo, or not Ichigo, and Hiro. When they like finally legit connected, they turned into a damn back and forth like drama type of thing. And not to say that that's bad, but that's not where I thought the show was heading. But I am one episode behind on that, so Matt's saying it turned up. So I mean, Darling in the Franxx definitely does have potential as long as they do what they need to do of being on par with Seven Deadly Sins, while not the same type of show, because they're definitely very different in terms of just what they bring to the table. But I mean, if I had to pick one, I'd say that I personally think that Seven Deadly Sins will end up being better just because of I know all the fights that are coming, and Darling in the Franxx ain't got nothing for that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask is, do you think, knowing what's coming in Seven Deadly Sins, did you think that Darling in the Franxx had anything to combat that with? But it's reminding me a lot of a couple seasons ago with My Hero Season 2 and Attack on Titan, how they were both going tick for tack for a lot of the season, and then at the end it was just like there was a pretty clear winner in My Hero. But yeah, that's interesting dynamic. Seven Deadly Sins definitely has some staying power. It's a hard anime to beat.
I think before people were sleeping on it, because I'd heard about it and it would come up occasionally, but now like everybody's like, yeah, hey, Seven Deadly Sins, bruh, My Hero, bruh. Like, there's a lot of anime that are turning up right now, and it's, while some of them aren't as hype as they were supposed to be, there's a lot of like the dudes who we weren't expecting to be OD who are kind of cooking right now, such as like the Megalobox, and even Shokugeki no Soma is really fucking good this season. But
yeah. I've heard it's good. I'm not watching it, but I will say it's week 7, and I would have thought that Megalobox would have trailed off by now because it was definitely a sleeper. I was interested in watching it, but I never would have thought it had been where it's at. But if it finishes the way that it should finish, it's going to be my favorite anime of the season, which is, it's crazy that the show that, I mean, it had some clout, but it wasn't supposed to be this good, in my opinion. I don't know. That's the biggest surprise in a long time I've had in watching a season of anime.
I agree. Megalobox is fucking turning up, but I'm sure we'll get into that in a bit. Is that anybody's hyper great? I'd assume so. Maybe.
I mean, I was just gonna talk about it.
Okay.
Set up, but
Matt, did you have anything to add?
Oh yeah, I mean, okay. So you're one episode behind. Like, so the last episode you saw was when they fucked.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I said it like that.
Fuck.
All right. Yeah. Next episode. There's some repercussions, and yeah, it gets I don't want to spoil it for you because but there is a fight at the end of the next episode. It's pretty cool.
Okay. Because that's what I like. I like the love triangle aspect, but I like that accompanied with all the fighting and all the main plays getting attacked and all the whole combination. It was like a damn big ass stew, I guess. Stew with like potatoes, shrimp. Steak.
I mean, so, yeah, and then it goes into like some kind of like drama, like some reality show. But
yeah, they took out the meat and potatoes. I don't want just veggies.
I mean, what I saw of it was kind of like, oh, okay, like they're kind of like living like a little fantasy life right now. They're happy and everything. Like they're not having to fight in this war. They're not having to like. They're able to like grow and connect with each other. And they're happy the way they are, but then they realize, like, the newest episode is basically a wake up call to them that they're not done yet. Like, there's still a lot of shit that they need to take care of.
Okay, then yeah, I'm ready. I'm gonna have to watch that as soon as we get finished because that's what I was expecting from the show. So I'm glad they're going in that direction. Let's get into our hyper gripe.
Do you really believe your own hype that much?
Oh my God!
All right, Matt, you'll go first. What you got, boy? What you got for us?
All right. Since it was really choosing one or the other for anime of the week, then whichever one loses gets hypered, right? So I'm gonna hype on Steins Gate. Are either of you guys caught up to it right now?
I'm 2 episodes behind, but you can we have a lot of time, so if you want to like quickly talk about both, you can. I don't care if you spoil Darling in the Franxx, really, because I'll still watch it and it should still be good.
Well, I mean, basically in Darling in the Franxx, like the main thing that surprised me was 02 got her ass handed to her by a human. And that was crazy.
What human was it?
The guy, the nines. Do you know what I mean when I say that?
Those are the people who was like, "Hey, Lolita," or
Yeah. They pissed her off because some shit happened, so she started like rushing them, and then like first she was just like one-on-one with this guy, but he was already kicking her ass, and then like they all kind of like joined in and started beating the shit out of her, and I was like, damn.
Was she in the Franxx or was it like in person?
It was in person, so it was a hand-to-hand combat scene.
Oh yeah, that'll make no sense.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, she's a monster. Like, how are these guys beating her? It like shows like the difference between like the 02, the best member on their squad, versus the nines. Like they
must be like on a whole nother level.
Yeah, and then with Steins Gate, it's hard to like talk about the show without giving like major spoilers. If you haven't seen the first season, you really need to see it. This is the best time to watch the first season of Steins Gate, because the second season is going on. You can just go right into it, unlike most of us who have had to wait like at least like 5 years to watch the second season. I didn't even know there would be a second season. But what's the coolest part about this episode of Steins Gate is the ending. It was kind of like a throwback to like the last season 1, because it's all about like time and like timelines and everything. It's about time traveling. Basically, this dude, he's like doing all this stuff, and he's like trying to avoid like having like certain events happen, because like he knows that these events like might lead to like somebody die. Major spoiler alert. Or I'm not gonna say her name, but basically at the end of one of the ends of Steins Gate episode, season 1, they're like chilling in a room, and they had just finished like making like a time machine, so they're celebrating. And what happens after that is basically all these like dudes just bust into the room, and then they shoot one of the characters dead. And then like it's like a huge change of pace like from the rest of like the season. It's like happy-go-lucky for like the entire season, but after that you're just like, holy shit, what's going on? And basically at the end of this episode, that happened again, but nobody got shot yet. It just like it ended at the dudes busting in, but you know that shit's about to go down.
We were definitely expecting it to turn up, so I'm glad it's, because the last season took a while to turn up. The first season,
yeah,
so I'm glad
but
it's starting to like
a little earlier.
Yeah, it's just not crazy earlier, but it is a little earlier. So I'm glad that this show will start picking up and be, because it's rated dumb high on everything, so it needs to earn its stripes.
The problem with it is that we are expecting a huge turn up, so they have to approach it in a very different way they approached season 1 for this, because they know what we're expecting now. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Did you see Steins Gate play?
You mean the original?
Yeah.
A very long time ago, and the only thing I remember is Elsai Kongru or whatever the fuck they always say. That's literally all I remember of the show.
All right, yeah, you need to.
I like the characters to some extent.
You gotta rewatch.
I planned on it once this thing was over, the 0 or whatever second season. Once it was over, I planned on watching it all together.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea, because then you can just binge it. Because like after, it's kind of hard to right now, because I feel disconnected from the characters after like not watching for so long. I kind of forgot like the significance. Like I forget there was a certain character who was actually like a secret agent in the first one, but he's kind of just a normal guy on the surface, and he does some crazy shit in the first season, and I totally forgot that he did that until like I kind of just remembered in the middle of watching an episode of season 2. So yeah, it's some crazy shit. All right. I'll give the spotlight to you guys for your hypergripes.
All right, so for my hypergripe, it's kind of a toss-up between Seven Deadly Sins and Megalobox. Both were setup episodes in their own respects. I think with Seven Deadly Sins, it's gotten to the point where you can expect something hype to happen every week. They do love their cliffhangers, but it's still very much a setup episode. With Megalobox, they really don't have a problem with slowing the tempo down to develop more story. And I found that this week with the whole, can't remember his name, Miku or something.
You're talking about the other
brother? Yeah.
Mikau or
The
something.
rich lady's brother.
Yeah. Essentially, you now know that the original owner of the Megalo company or whatever you want to call it was their dad. The girl is now in charge, and her brother is a fighter. And it was stated by Nambu that he's definitely not there for nepotism reasons, that he's actually an insanely good fighter, and that his gear is really, really advanced. It's also shown that the sister is super against Joe because of the gearless aspect. And she kind of made a point of he has no place here as long as he's gearless. So I don't know if this is kind of setting up for another power spike for Joe, like for him to actually fight at all in the Megalo tournament, if he's going to have to get some gear, and that's what's going to send him, above and beyond or something. But then again, it was also mentioned in their training that the advantage that he has is the negation of the lag time that the gear has, all gear apparently, besides the brother's gear, because it makes predictive movements and it moves the fighter's arms before they even know what they want to do. Essentially, it basically cheat mode. His gear is fucking busted, but I'm not really sure where it's headed. It's revealed at the end of the episode that Joe forfeits the match with the brother, essentially because he confronts him in the hallway and tells him, I know where you're from, I know your past, I know that you were on a fake ID this entire time. Do you want that to get out to everybody? And then Nambu incapacitates Joe. Joe and Saicho are crying, and Nambu's just looking out at the tunnel, and then the gate closes, and that's the end of the episode. So it's really open-ended. It is a cliffhanger, but I really don't know where it's gonna head. I have a feeling Joe's gonna need gear, and maybe that'll get him back into a place where he can somehow have a tournament match. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he's not meant to fight in the tournament. Maybe
Yuri's gonna do something. You think Yuri's gonna, because I know Yuri really wants to fight Joe too.
Yeah, they definitely have a the ultimate fate of this show should be the Joe and Yuri fight. I just don't know how it's going to get there, and I think this show has done a phenomenal job so far of kind of being a predictable plot. Here's a tournament, here's your underdog, here's your champion, go, but also being so mysterious about how they're going to arrive at those plot points. It's really kept me on my toes as a show overall, and in 7 episodes, they have laid down so much backstory for these characters and so many different facets of each one of them that I really feel like I know Joe and Nambu and Saicho, and that the actual villains, or quote unquote villains, have real weight to them. The sister, having the weight of the company that her dad built on her shoulders, trying to make a future for it in a very specific manner. The brother, and we don't really know the source of the conflict between the brother and the sister, but the brother clearly, when he said, you've taken everything from me, blah, 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 there's clearly something there. Maybe he wanted to be the head of the company. I'm not sure.
It's probably because normally when people are handing shit down, a girl doesn't normally get the shit. It's normally like, oh, you're the son, you're the rightful heir to all this shit. So he probably expected it, and then the dad was like, nah, fuck you.
Yeah, I could definitely see the ownership of the company being what he felt was taken from him, because he's already said twice in the show, once in episode 6 and 7, that this Megalo boxing is no place for stray dogs, and there's no place for you here. There's a very tribal sense that he has over the Megalo community, and that he wants it to be kept very prestigious and celebrity-esque. So I'm curious to see more about their conflict, and maybe a bit more about Saicho's background.
Is that the little kid?
Yeah.
something. Yeah, I was thinking that.
But in 7 episodes, the show has done an insane job of that backstory so far, and with 6 more to go, I definitely could see this being one of my all-time favorite animes if it ends right. So
Yeah.
Okay, so I got some questions and some plot points that I want to run past y'all.
Okay.
One, why was this dude pissing blood?
Dude, yeah, I was about to ask that. His piss was brown.
I'm pretty sure it was like a way to say that he's like still dumb hurt from the fight, but that was unnecessary. I was like, all right, bro. And then I did think it was cool in that same scene. I don't know how you guys took it, but for me, like it seemed like the old dude had him chained up so he wouldn't like go train.
yeah,
I thought that was a cool like a little something that didn't need to be explained, but it was just there. Because a lot of shows nowadays, they throw everything at you 100% like, hey, this dude is getting trapped. Like I thought that was like hella subtle. Yeah, it was subtle and it was tactfully done. I was like, oh damn, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, this show is exceptionally good at that. Also with like the kids running the little scheme with they're like, you don't have to pay to watch, but you got to pay to eat. And they were like, it's really creative. The show's got a lot of just like flavor to it that when you watch it, you really feel like you're watching something unique, and that's really rare in anime nowadays. So it's cool to see something that has its own style, its own music, its own everything. And it doesn't hold your hand through you watching it. It really just lets you take it in for what you see in it. And on that note, I think that a lot of people are going to love it when it's all said and done. Like, wow, this is one of my, top 10. But I think there's also going to be people that might hate the show based on, I just don't like the way it looks, and I don't like the music, and I don't like this. Granted, you probably have bad taste if that's how you feel about it, but I can see it being a pretty polarizing show because of how staunch it is in all its the ways that it attacks presenting itself to people. So
definitely agree. One more point: the rapping at the beginning was hella cool.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
It reminded me a lot of what they did in Devilman Crybaby, and while I wasn't a big fan of that show, like the rest of the community, that was my single favorite part of the show that I really enjoyed was the rapping. So it was cool to see that brought to a show that I actually am enjoying thoroughly. And at the beginning, because it started off with the normal theme song, and then it go into the show, this man starts spitting bars. I was like, okay, now I'm hyped. So yeah, that was just one cool thing that once again they're bringing to the table. It's always something new, and that's one of the reasons that I'm enjoying the show. Even good things can get old, and they're bringing multiple forms of good things to keep it fresh.
I agree.
Yeah, well said.
So for Matt, did you have anything to say? Because I know you didn't really talk.
No, I was just gonna say the same thing that you did. I was like, hey, what about that opening sequence, guys? So good.
That man was spitting the hell of bars. It was too fire.
Dude, all these hot girls have like tattoos of Joe. Like, I want that, man.
If you get a tattoo of Joe, I will pay you $20. It's just a stick figure.
I really am thinking about they don't make tombstones for stray dogs tattoo.
Get it on your lower back.
Get it on my butt.
They don't make tombstones for But my hype for the week is 7 Deadly Sins. Just to start the show, they started with Gother and Mini Escanor. Well, that's what we'll call him. Getting in the fight, and Escanor's like, yeah, I don't want to fight this dude. I'm not about this life. I'm not fighting him. And then so Gother, who I'm starting to think this dude ain't good. I don't know what's going on, but they're really starting to like play his like, oh, I might be I'm a commandment. Psych, I'm a sin thing. And that's honestly confusing me. Normally stuff is a little more straightforward than that. So we saw them start fighting, and then he hit this man with the damn genjutsu and like showed like some of his past and like a dream sequence type of thing. And then basically he showed Merlin, and it looked like he tried to convince him that Merlin was like quote unquote darkness, or like a negative part of his life, or that she didn't want to be with him or something. But then Escanor's like, nah, she the goat, like she's my son. And then in his damn dream state, this man saw a big ass sun, and in turn, in real life, turned into Big Escanor, Big Daddy Poppy, and then called. First of all, this man has Thor power with his sacred treasure, and he like calls it from damn Narnia. The thing comes, and this man starts turning up, and they're explaining the power of his sacred treasure, which is to apparently when he is Big Escanor, he radiates hella energy, and all his weapon does is just store that energy for when he needs it. So he like, all right, I need this energy. It's nighttime. Let me turn up even more. So this man's in the sky, and we think he's about to attack Gother, and then in turn, Gother's like, all right, bet, let's cook. So he has his damn super spear arrow thing going. And then to close the episode, we see this man, where it looks like they're clashing, then the fight's over. We see Escanor fall, like he gets pierced in his skin, which I'm still confused about, because what's the dude's name? Gallon couldn't even damn pierce him, so I don't know how strong. What's the purple dude or the pink dude?
Gother.
Yeah, I don't know how strong Gother must have been at that moment, so I'm interested in that as well. But to close the show, we see this man Escanor one shot both commandments that we're watching. So that just once again shows how fucking OP this dude is, and he just the GOAT. And I don't. Probably if anybody else would have did that, I wouldn't have been a type. But Escanor, I really like this dude as a character. Like he is probably the only sin next to Meliodas who I can say honestly, like through and through, takes the title of their sin. Like he is the sin of pride, and this man ain't taking no shit from nobody. He turning up on your ass. He knows he the GOAT, and he gonna goat your ass.
Yeah, that's actually something I really enjoy about the show too, is because in a lot of shonens you have a character that's pretty blatantly powerful, and it's explained how powerful they are, and maybe they have a backstory that shows how powerful they are, and then when push comes to shove, they struggle. And in Seven Deadly Sins, the show does not give a fuck about that anime trope. Escanor is extremely powerful, and when it is time for him to do something powerful, he devastates people, and the show is completely okay with letting that happen, which I enjoy a lot. Meliodas is ridiculously powerful. These two guys are like on another scale when it comes to like shonen protagonists being powerful. They are allowed to be to their extent of power. Meliodas can show up to all 10 of the commandments and beat the piss out of one of them by pulling his sword out an inch. Escanor can grab his weapon while he's fucking sleeping and throw that fucking sunfire shit at 2 commandments and kill him. And the show doesn't have a problem with letting them be as powerful as they are. And I love that, because Meliodas and Escanor are 2 of my favorite characters in anime right now. They're that cool. And to further illustrate your point, they really are their sins. The characters' backstories and the way that how powerful they are because of being the sin of wrath and the sin of pride, they really do embody those. When Meliodas loses his cool, the sin of wrath really is truly just wrath embodied. And same with pride. When it comes to Escanor's personal pride, if it's damaged in any way, he's going to smite you down. And I also thought it was interesting that when the first time he turned up on Galland, he said that I'm from the highest. I don't remember the exact word.
I'm the one, the top of all clans. Why do I remember the exact word?
I'm at the pinnacle of all human clans. But then when they went, so I did not expect his backstory to be so sad, and for his family to have exiled him and been like, you have a terrible curse. I thought he would have been from some insane, like, proud kingdom, where everybody is like super strong regarding the sun, but it was considered a curse from everyone else. And now Escanor makes more sense in the Seven Deadly Sins, because every episode it's said at the beginning, the Seven Deadly Sins is comprised of mastermind criminals and basically they're bad people. They're all like Bond-esque, but they're not shown to be always. King has his own personal trials and tribulations. Meliodas, obviously. But Escanor was like, how does he fit into this? Because you got people like fucking Bond who are like kind of scum of the earth. How do you have this like paladin warrior dude in this clan? And now it makes more sense. He was exiled. He actually has a legitimate backstory. And for the Nightmare to bring that to the show, I thought was super creative. It was a move done to him that went into his backstory. It was definitely a cool way of doing it. But Gother's Blackout, we've seen that move before. I think on Diane, if I'm not mistaken. And that every time he's used that, I want to say it's been 2 or 3 times, it's devastated the person he's used it on. So I'm not sure how powerful Gother is to speak to that point that you made. But it seems like if he can do it to Diane and Escanor, and I think he did it to somebody else.
Yeah, he did. I don't know if it was the same move, but it had the little pink floaty thing, and it was Galland when he.
Oh yeah. The blackout arrow that he's done has been absurdly strong, and I'm still kind of confused about what his power is, but clearly it's got some 10 Commandments level power. And the King of Leons, or however you want to say it, put a bounty on the 10 Commandments head and Gother's head, so it's something that the king knew as well, which I thought was interesting. So that might come back around later on.
Yeah, I'm still catching up. I'm almost at the end of season 1. I made it a point to catch up to Steins Gate this week, because I was actually like 5 episodes behind, so I'm caught up with Steins Gate at least, because Steins Gate is it's a really significant thing that we have a second season of Steins Gate, and it's actually made by the same studio and company right now, and it's all canon. Like, they're not just making a Steins Gate season 2 to milk it. Like, it's actually some canon shit going on right now.
Okay. All right, let's get into Blast from the Past.
Oh yes, the past can hurt, but the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it.
So we don't got no Blast from the Past this week. See you next week. So this week since we've been so intermittent the last 3 or so weeks, we don't want to spoil anything for you guys. So we're going to tell you what episodes to get caught up to this week. Clay, what episodes are you watching this week?
So I believe we've covered up to 4 or 5, I want to say. But just to be safe, wherever we ended before, I want you guys to watch up to 16.
God damn!
Yeah, so you got to remember, I'm watching a 24 and we're already on week 7. So to be safe, we're going to go to 16, and then we'll be able to do 2s for week 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then be done with the show. So it'll be 2 episodes a week after this, but get up to episode 16. And pretty much all next week, I'm just going to talk about Mirai Nikki from about episode 4 to 16, cover it all, and then we'll be able to do 2 episodes a week from there.
Yeah, so just try to, I guess, watch a couple a day. Watch 1 or 2 a day, and shouldn't be too hard. Don't try to watch them all in one day.
I mean, they're pretty addicting. Mirai Nikki especially is a really addicting show, but if you even watched an episode a week since you've been gone, it'll only be like 6 episodes for you to watch this week. So yeah, try 1 a day and you'll be good.
All right. So for you guys who are actually keeping up with Princess Jellyfish, really good Josei anime. I usually don't watch those, but my girlfriend was really into it, so I decided to give it a shot. And I know a lot of like other people who are into it, but I think next week you just have to be caught up to episode 8, and if you've been watching along with me, then it shouldn't be too much of a problem. I mean, if there are people listening who liked it, then y'all might have binged it by now. But it's only like a 11, 12 episode anime. So yeah, what about you, lad? Where were we on Cowboy Bebop?
So next week I want you guys to get all the way up to episode 14. So I don't know where we left off or where you're at, but episode 14 is the mark. So try to catch up to that, and we will discuss it all. Do we have any closing statements?
I just want to reiterate, if you haven't watched the first season of Steins Gate yet, now is the best time to watch it, because season 2 is airing, and you'll be able to go straight from season 1 to season 2. And there's a reason why it's rated so high on my anime list. Like, mark my words.
Okay, Clay, you got anything?
Nope, just follow our Instagram. Twitter's dead. Fuck Twitter, honestly. Come watch our Twitch streams if you are into that. RogueShogunate.com. I think we might have like a Hearthstone tournament soon if you guys are into that. So if anyone would like to participate, hit me up on something and we'll see if we can get you in. But it'll probably just be for fun. But we have a lot of friends that like Hearthstone, and it's kind of fun just to get put into a pool and then try to make it all the way to the end. But if you're into that, just let us know. None of us are like super good or anything, so if anyone wants to play, just let me know.
And if that's something, if just tournaments in general or playing with us is something you guys want to do, because I know I've had probably 4 or 5 people hit me up and like, hey, I heard you guys play Fortnite, let's play. If you guys want to just play with us, just let us know and we can set something up, or we can, I don't fucking know, we can do something. Just hit us up.
Dauntless, it's a Monster Hunter type game, goes open beta on the 24th, and it's free to play. So if you guys are interested in those types of games, I think we might stream that within the next couple weeks. It's a super fun game. I've been playing it all day. Also, as a tangent, LeBron is a demon. When anyone else on his team,
what kind of transition was that?
I just remember, if anyone else on his team does anything, this dude might just break the legacy limits in anime fashion. He might be able to truly attain the GOAT status if he can do something demonic here. So we'll see on the next episode of the LeBron show how that works.
All right, guys. So that was the episode. We gave you guys a lot of episodes to watch, so get out there and watch some shit.